Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham. Welcome to the Stage 12 betting preview of the Tour de France. Before we get into the action, just a reminder, if you do enjoy these previews, hit the subscribe button and give us a like. It really helps the channel a lot. And also, if you aren't subscribed yet, there is a link down below to our free weekly Good for the Game betting newsletter. Right, well, before we get into the Stage 12 action, have a look at what happened in Stage 11. And yeah, we hit a winner nicely. Quite a big bet by cycling standards on Philipsen to win. I took him at World Sports Betting, so I had the money back for second place special there. And in the end, we didn't need it, fortunately. He managed to come through and win what in the end was a really tough sprint at the end of a fairly easy stage. The stage went very much as expected. We got a weak breakaway, or small, let me not call it a weak breakaway. There were some strong riders in there. It was a small breakaway that got away. And yeah, at the end of the day, they weren't given any leeway. This was always going to be a sprint finish. And it was quite a messy one. Matteo van der Poel didn't lead out Philipsen. And in fact, at one stage, it really looked as though Philipsen was boxed in. Groenewegen, who keeps on improving, he made the first dash, and Philipsen managed to grab his wheel and come past him and actually won very comfortably in the last 100 meters. But there were certainly some nervous moments for me down the stretch there, I can tell you. Bauhaus with another good performance, completing the podium behind Groenewegen. Kakard also very consistent. Pedersen, decent sprint from him, not really his favorite terrain. And he's starting to see some of the tough men appear now. Christoph, he always goes well towards the back end of Grand Tours. He's very durable. He doesn't have the speed of some of the other guys. But you must always remember in these Tour de France stages now, you're not necessarily, it's very different from sprinting in the first week. You've got guys who've come over mountains who really started to take strain. And you could see, for example, Jacobsen nowhere to be seen here in the sprint. One guy I do want to highlight, popped into the top 10 there, is Peter Sagan. We haven't seen him in the top 10 yet in this Tour de France, and I'd like to see him doing something. He's obviously not the rider he was, but wouldn't it be great to see him get into a breakaway and perhaps win a stage or come very close to that? So anyway, that was stage 11. Not much more to talk about there. Let's move on to stage 12, which looks like it's been an absolutely thrilling stage. I mean, we don't have to go far back to see a typical breakaway stage, and that was stage 10. And if you look at the profile of the stage 12, it's not that different. The ending is definitely tougher. We've got these climbs over here, but if you look at the last 28 kilometers, very similar profile to what we saw in stage 10. We've also got a fairly tricky start, although not as tough a start. So very unlikely, in my opinion, we're going to see the likes of Pogačar going into an early break here or something like that. That being said, let's have a look at this terrain here. It's not going to be easy to get into the break. It's definitely going to be a big battle for the breakaway. You're basically climbing here from the gun for the first 10 kilometers. So plenty of opportunity even there for guys to try and break away. We then have a Cat 3 climb, 4.3 kilometers at 5.6%, and a bit of roll, a bit of a descent, and then another Cat 3, 2.1 kilometers at 6.9. There's a good chance that the break goes somewhere around over here, and that we get a fairly strong and big break going away. And this time, I think, Vingegaard's team would be more than happy if they just went well clear and won the stage by like 20 minutes or something like that. It is possible that there could even be a longer battle to get into the break, and it could go as far as perhaps even the halfway point before we get riders clear, or maybe even this Cat 3 climb here as we come towards the back end of the stage. But I'm predicting that the break goes somewhere around either this first Cat 3 or second Cat 3 climb and is allowed to sail far away. I'm once again expecting the break to win the stage. Same logic as stage 10. If a big break goes clear, who wants to sit on the front and control it? Yes, there'll be certain teams who may do it for a while because they've missed the break and their directors are in their ear saying, what the hell have you done? But ultimately, I mean, you're not going to get a UAE sitting on the front. Yes, Jumbo-Visma will sit on the front, but they certainly won't be chasing the break, only to give Pogačar bonus seconds. One thing I do want to point out, though, is we got the 3 climbs to end here. We got a 5.2 kilometer at 6.1, 5.5 at 6%, which is quite tough. And then you've got this one, 5.3 kilometers at 7.6% average. Now, there are bonus seconds there, but at the end of the day, I mean, obviously Vingegaard wouldn't want those to come into play because Pogačar is quicker than him in the sprint. But is UAE and Pogačar really willing to work that hard for the bonus seconds? I don't think so. At the end of the day, we've also got quite a big stage coming on Friday, certainly a big ending to the stage. And I don't think they want to burn all their matches on a stage like this for a few bonus seconds at the end of the day, and that's what it will be. Right, let's call it then that the break is going to get away, and they're going to fight out the stage. What sort of rider are we looking for here? Well, you obviously need a tough rider, but it's another one of these beautifully designed stages, in my opinion. We could get one of the sort of tougher sprinters arriving. In his heyday, this would have been a Peter Sagan stage, no doubt about it. And that's why you'll see the favorite for the stage is Wout van Aert, because he is a sprinter who could climb really well, and he is the favorite for the break. But you'll see I'm going to oppose him today, and I'm going to do it in a bit of a different way. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's get into my bets then, and what I'll do is I'll bring up the first one. First of all, let's have a quick look at the betting at World Sports Betting. You've got Wout van Aert, the favorite, at 9-1. Scalamose 14s, Mohoric 14s, Pogacar actually in at 16-1, Alaphilippe 16. I'm not going to guys, this is a very open stage. By all means, put your money where you think it's going to go. Wout van Aert, by the way, quite a big price there, because on Sunbet, you'll see he's only 5-1. So I suspect there might be some money coming for him, and he might shorten at World Sports Betting as well. But that's the betting there. But my first bet is going to be on Woods at 40-1. Let's find him down here. Here he is, Michael Woods, just above the banner there. I'll move that up slightly. And he's 40-1 at World Sports Betting. Now, Woods, of course, has got a stage victory to his name already. This is a very different profile from the stage he won. But he's got a decent kick on him, because that will also be important if we go back to this. You've got 28 kilometers from the top of the final climb to the bottom. It's not going to be easy for someone to win solo. We saw the other day when Nylands tried to break clear on stage 10 that he was chased down by the small group behind him. And that could happen again. We could have a small group coming to the end here for a sprint. Woods is capable of beating a lot of the other climbers in that inner sprint finish. So I'll give him a good chance. Israel, well, they're constantly trying to get into breakaways, and I think Woods could be their man for tomorrow. I'm taking him there at 40-1. Right, the next bet I'm taking is also half a unit. I'm not throwing too much money at these guys. O'Connor, I was quite impressed with him in stage 10. He didn't quite have what it takes, but given how he started the tour, he seems to be improving quite nicely. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the break. Another guy from AG2R might be there is Gal, but I'm going with O'Connor here at 50-1. He wasn't that impressive on the climbs on stage 10, but given if he is improving, he certainly, if he's in the break, would be one of the best climbers, and every chance that he could finish it. Although perhaps a bit limited if they come together in a small group as far as the sprint finish goes. That price, by the way, is on offer at Sunbet, and I'll just, what was it, 50-1. Ben O'Connor, 50-1 at Sunbet. And then our next bet is at Bet Exchange, and I'm giving Aramburu another chance now. He is starting to become one of these guys that I'm mentioning quite often. He's just not showing himself there. But I'm hoping that the fact that the stage 12, the start is easier than the start of stage 10. And I'm hoping that Aramburu will be able to get into the break and hang in over the climbs. There is a big headwind on this final climb, which will make it quite hard to break away alone. And he is the sort of rider, if he can come in a small group of 5 or 6 riders, he's definitely got the capability of finishing it. That is 50-1 at Bet Exchange. And then I'm going to go for another rider at Bet Exchange, Rui Costa at 80-1. Now, Rui he's riding for the Intermarché team. They're constantly looking for breaks. Zimmerman did very well the other day. And I think Costa might be their man. I'm a little bit worried about his form. He rode very well prior to the Tour de France. He just hasn't shown up. But if I look at this profile, and I've been a big Rui Costa fan, and I know Chris Sturdy, my partner at Good for Game, loves Rui Costa. This is just a profile that suits Rui Costa down to the ground. He's got a bit of a finish on him, but he's also well capable of breaking clear on these climbs. So let's hope Rui Costa can get into the break. But let me go for I had a 5-unit play on Phillips, and I'm going to go for another fairly big bet here. And in fact, I must just quickly edit it I'm going to edit it as I bring it up here, just to put the price in. And I'll show you the bet now on Sunbet. And they've got classification betting. They're the only bookmaker or local bookmaker that I've found that does this. And I'm just going to skim down because they price up on a lot of guys. What they say here is, Wout van Aert, he's even money to finish in the top 3. And he's 7-10 not to finish in the top 3. So you can take a bit of a position here and effectively be the bookmaker and lay 7-10 that Wout van Aert will finish in the top 3. Now, obviously, Wout van Aert is the favorite for the stage, but I think from a pure sort of betting value point of view, I think there's a bit of value in opposing Van Aert. Yes, he may ride away and win the stage, but I almost think for Van Aert, this could be a case of win the stage, or finish nowhere. And at the end of the day, let's not forget, in stage 10, he didn't look at his best. He was in the break and he got dropped. These climbs in this particular stage are actually harder than the ones in stage 10. So if Wout van Aert is not at the top of his game, he could definitely get dropped. The other problem Van Aert has if he's in the break is everyone looks for him to do the work, and they're all going to be attacking him as well. If he's not at his 100% best, I think he'll struggle to win this. And if he struggles to win it, well, there's every chance of him being running out of the top three. This will probably be a bit of a nerve-wracking bet, but I'm going for it. 5 units on Van Aert, top 3 no at 7 to 10. Enjoy the stage. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch this on. I'll be recording it and watching it later. But this is definitely one of those stages you want to watch from start to finish. The break forming will be fascinating, and the chase will be fascinating. Well, not necessarily the chase, but more like the attacks and that from the break, because you're going to get a variety of different, with a fairly softish start compared to stage 10. You're going to get quite a wide variety of riders in the break. And then you're going to see the tactics where the lighter climbers are going to want to attack on these climbs, whereas the heavier ones are going to want to, heavier riders are going to want to bring it back for the sprint finish. It should be an absolute thriller. I can't wait for it, even though I will be watching it a few hours later and just staying off all social media. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you for stage 13, which